Coming to paperback and e-readers in 2021, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks on a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business in 2021 at online booksellers everywhere. Recently, actress Asia Argento made allegations against director Rob Cohen of sexual assault. Now, your Asia Argento, one of the leaders of the MeToo movement back in 2017, is now saying that she remembers an alleged sexual assault that took place in 2002, where your Rob Cohen allegedly gave her a bottle filled with GHB, drugged her, and allegedly sexually assaulted her. Now, when I take a critical examination of Asia Argento's recent 2021 allegations, I don't know if she can be seen as credible. Now, I find it interesting that your Asia Argento, at the height of the Me Too movement back from 2017 to about 2019, never mentioned any allegations of sexual assault against Rob Cohen back at the height of his popularity. However, when she oftentimes came out here and made allegations against Harvey Weinstein. You would think that your Asia Argento would have made those allegations against Rob Cohen back then. Unfortunately, she didn't say anything about those allegations until 4 years later. That's why I find these allegations to be quite suspect, because you would think if this woman wanted to allegedly stop sexual harassment and stop sexual assault, she would have come out almost immediately and named your Rob Cohen back then. Moreover, you would think that since this incident took place in 2002, you would think that your Asia Argento would have at some time then contacted the police and filed charges against your Rob Cohen. Now, your Rob Cohen was not really a big wheel back in the days of the early 2000s, almost 19 years ago. Back then, he was a small-time director working on films like XXX, and you think that this woman would have easily went out here and filed a police report against your Rob Cohen back then, because if your Desiree Washington could go out here and file a police report and get charges filed against your Mike Tyson back as far as 1989 or 1990, then why couldn't your Asia Argento go out here and file criminal charges of sexual assault against Rob Cohen back in 2002 when he was just an up-and-coming director? That's a critical question any good police detective or prosecutor would ask your Asia Argento, and they would ask that question because they know that your Asia Argento has some serious credibility issues, considering that your Asia Argento in the past herself has been caught on tape and in pictures participating in statutory rape with a minor. And your Asia Argento was never prosecuted for that crime by the California District Attorney. However, she wants us to believe that Rob Cohen, the director of XXX, may possibly be guilty of an alleged sexual assault that took place almost 19 years ago, a sexual assault that she never went to go file any police reports about, and had all of the opportunity to file those police reports far back as 2002, but instead of her filing those police reports against Rob Cohen as related to this criminal matter, she decides to take her case to the court of public opinion. Because what your Asia Argento has decided to do, instead of taking this case to the police and a district attorney to deal with in a criminal justice system, is she has decided to try this case in the court of public opinion by putting it in her autobiography, which is supposed to come out later this year. Now, I find that to be quite suspect in and of itself, because I know how many of these faded celebrities, what they try to do is whenever they have a product about to come out, they try to come out with a salacious story and try to use that as a way to try to push more copies of said product. Because this was done by Lenny Kravitz a couple of months ago when he had a book out here. He came out taking jabs at Bill Cosby, and this is what your Asia Argento allegedly is looking like she's trying to do: take jabs at director Rob Cohen by saying that he participated in an alleged sexual assault, and then wants us to go out here and buy copies of the book to hear what happened. Now, this is extremely unethical if it is the case, because, again, if there was a sex crime that had taken place in this situation, you would think that this woman would want to go out here and ensure no other women be violated the way that she was. And I find it interesting, again, that one of the leaders of the MeToo movement never mentioned Rob Cohen at any time at the height of the popularity of the MeToo movement, when she was talking about Harvey Weinstein's alleged sex crimes. She never mentions your Rob Cohen in the 4 years of the MeToo movement, the height of its popularity, after it started to rise with allegations that were made against Bill Cosby, and then started to blow up soon after what happened with your Roger Ailes, and Roger Ailes giving Gretchen Carlson that $20 million settlement. And that's when the Me Too movement changed from black men all the way over to white men, and many white females like your Asia Argento wanted to get a payday at the expense of guys like Harvey Weinstein. And it looks like your Asia Argento is just not finished trying to milk the resources of these white men, because now she's making these allegations against your Rob Cohen almost 4 years after the height of the popularity of the Me Too movement. And again, if this was about stopping sexual harassment and sexual assault back then, you would think that your Asia Argento would have come out with these allegations against your Rob Cohen, and she would have filed criminal charges against Rob Cohen back then. And that's where she starts to have serious credibility issues as related to her allegations, because they, one, come out conveniently about the same time that she's releasing a book, and two, she never made these allegations again at the height of the Me Too movement, when many of these white women were out here looking to get a payday at the expense of these white men in an effort to get so-called justice. But we saw that it really wasn't justice, because soon after the Me Too movement got some compensation from these rich producers, we stopped hearing these allegations of sexual harassment and sexual assault from these older actresses. And many of these older actresses, once they got their jobs in these nonprofits, practically disappeared. And your Asia Argento, I guess, didn't get a cut of that money, so now she's thinking she can get something through this book. So I find everything to be quite suspect, because, again, when I think about these allegations, you would think she would have made them the same time she made them against Harvey Weinstein, and that would have given them some ring of truth. But I really have a hard time believing your Asia Argento's newest allegations because, one, they seem like an effort to provide another story as related to revisionist history, because a lot of these actresses out here, a lot of them now that they've gotten older, they have aged out of the Hollywood system. They're no longer the young hotties anymore. They don't have the careers that they wanted to have, and they can't get the parts anymore. So now many of these women, knowing that they can't get the parts anymore, and they can't get the opportunities anymore because screenwriters don't write scripts for women over 30 in Hollywood, now they're looking to try to find a way to revise history so that they would not look as bad as they were, and try to keep those skeleton bones from being revealed. So what they're trying to do to avoid having to deal with all those skeleton bones that they have in the closet from all those men that they slept with in order to get parts is they are out here revising history to make themselves into victims and hoping to turn, the victim role into a payday, and hoping that these guys will break them off a few dollars, and then after they break them off a few dollars, then they can go on and live for a little while longer on the little bit of money they get from those guys. So that's what a lot of these older actresses are trying to do, and they're trying to, again, revise history, because if you look at the whole, again, the story, it just doesn't add up. And when I look at the story, that's one, what they're trying to do is revise history, and two, they're trying to get a few more dollars out of the Hollywood system before they fade out completely. And the whole thing is, your Asia Argento, her story just doesn't have much credibility when you really take a critical examination of it, and the timing of said story really is questionable when you consider she has a new book out. So when I look at Asia Argento's latest allegations, they really don't have much credibility, but it just shows us how this MeToo movement just won't go away, because many of these women, again, they're still thinking that they can go out here, make an allegation against a man, and that allegation is something that we need to trust and believe, even though when you take a critical examination of the evidence, there's not much credibility as related to the allegations this woman is making. So when I listen to your Asia Argento talking about Rob Cohen, I don't really believe these allegations, because these allegations are coming not with a police report, not with charges of sexual assault like in the case of Bill Cosby. They are coming along with a book, which shows me that this is more about a faded actress trying to get a payday at the expense of a man's reputation. And this is not something we should trust and believe, as many of the women in the Me Too movement want us to believe. No, we need to get our country back to a process of due process under the law, and we need to get our country back to a standard of due process under the law, because when you have females like this making allegations and feeling like there's no way that they can be held accountable for their statements, we're in a bad place, and no woman should be able to sit here and make an allegation unless she can go out here and prove that allegation that actually transpired, and prove that these actions actually happened, because anybody can make an allegation out here, and that should not be the case unless you have hard evidence to back it up. And I'm looking again at this whole case, and it just again shows me how bad things still are as we are related to this whole case of trust and believe, and how we have double standards, because again, your Asia Argento should be in being prosecuted for the statutory rape she participated in, and nobody wants to talk about that, but she wants to sit here and make an allegation against a man and then think that it's an equal standard. No, in an equal standard, both people who have committed a crime would be prosecuted, and again, the woman, if something had truly happened, she would have gone out here and filed a police report back in 2002, Because again, Rob Cohen was not a big wheel in Hollywood until Fast and the Furious blew up, and he wasn't really a big wheel. So she could have, again, easily gotten a case against this man, but chose not to because she wanted to continue working through the casting couch. And now that she's aged out, she wants to try to revise stories to make herself out to be a victim, but you need hard evidence to prove that you're a victim. And that's why we really need to get back to a standard of due process under the law and innocent until proven guilty, because nobody should go out here and try a case in the court of public opinion as related to these types of crimes. No, we need, if you really want to stop alleged sexual harassment and sexual assault, we really need people to go out here and take these cases before the police with a police report. And we really need people in the prosecutor's office to take these cases and judge them fairly, not like they have in the state of California, where your Asia Argento was clearly shown participating in a statutory rape, is given a pass for the crime she committed, and then wants to make allegations against this director, Rob Cohen, and wants there to try this case in the court of public opinion. Though we need a standard as related to these allegations, because these allegations can destroy a man's, not only his professional reputation, but also destroy his personal one. And I believe that your Rob Cohen has a really good case as related to a slander case here, because your Asia Argento is clearly participating in an act of slander, and he would easily win his case in the civil courts if he decided to pursue one. So when I really look at this case, it just shows me how your Asia Argento is still desperate and still trying to resurrect the MeToo movement in an effort to try to get a payday at Rob Cohen's expense, and shows me how this isn't going to end, because you have so many aged out actresses still trying to get a payday now that they know that they can't get parts, and they're still thinking that they can use allegations against these men in order to get that payday. And this is even after they were compensated by Hollywood. There are still women still trying to get paid and not understanding that you cannot really say Me Too out here anymore unless you've got the hard evidence to back up your claims. Now, this video will not be monetized, so I'm asking everybody to donate to the Cash App, to the PayPal or the Patreon, and pick up one of my books out here on Amazon.com to continue helping me continue to do the work. And that's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella. Discover the dark side of love in this goth and lovely romance with Spinsterella. Get Spinsterella in paperback and e-readers at your favorite online bookseller today.